Okay, so if you don't remember Daredevil or the Defenders TV shows or never watched them, the Hand is an ancient ninja organization revolved around resurrection via digging up dragon bones, and has been involved in many historical events and battles. In episode 4 of The Defenders, Royal Dragon, Matt Murdock's former sensei Stick explains how the Hand has been working in the shadows for centuries. While digging for dragon bones underground, the Hand, presumably accidentally, caused the eruption of Pompeii and subsequent annihilation of the populace. More than 1900 years later, the Hand would not learn from their lesson and dug up dragon bones near Soviet nuclear power station Chernobyl, and of course they caused the biggest nuclear meltdown in history. In 2017's Spider-Man Homecoming, we are introduced to the first iteration of Shocker, Jackson Bryce, who is shortly killed thereafter by Vulture. Hernan Schultz takes the mantle of Shocker and dons the electrical gauntlet. Schultz proceeds to fight Spider-Man at Midtown High before being subdued with the help of the CEO, Ned Leeds. What many fans don't know is that Shocker's gauntlet is actually the same one that Brock Rumlow, or Crossbones, used in Captain America Civil War. During the opening fight, Captain America rips off Rumlow's gauntlet and discards it. The DODC later picked it up and Vulture and his crew later stole it to aid their black market operation. Eventually, the gauntlet will fall back into the hands of the DODC and be used by Spider-Man to fight the Hulk. Yup, if you don't remember, which I don't blame you, Kingo was an Eternal with the power to shoot blasts from his fingers, like Finger Blast, which is kind of a stupid power, especially compared to like Icarus, but I digress. In Eternals, Kingo says that Thor used to follow him around as a kid. Since Thor says he's about 1500 years old in Avengers Infinity War, this means that Kingo had lived for a long time, and Thor was probably like a century old as a child, which is honestly kind of interesting. Like, Kingo has lived that long, he remembers Thor when he was a boy. Nick Fury was seeking out potential Avengers Protocol candidates for years before 1 week had 3 huge incidents: Iron Man's debut, Thor's arrival to Earth, and the Hulk vs. Abomination. The last one you may not remember the most, as Emil Blonsky was eventually defeated by Hulk after the two tore up Harlem. The World Security Council actually pushed for the release of Emil Blonsky, stating that he was a decorated war hero who fought Hulk in self-defense. Obviously, S.H.I.E.L.D. and Nick Fury disapproved of this, and the consultant, Tony Stark, was to convince General Thaddeus Ross to disapprove of the release as well. Honestly, this is a really good what-if scenario. Imagine if Abomination joined the lineup and how that could change the future MCU projects. In our world, 35th President John Fitzgerald Kennedy was assassinated by Lee Harvey Oswald on November 22, 1963 in Dallas, Texas. However, Bucky Barnes, as the Winter Soldier of course, was ordered by the Soviets to assassinate John F. Kennedy. Although the reason isn't explicitly stated, it's pretty obvious as why, as this was during the Cold War. Sebastian Stan confirms this in the Captain America Civil War promo video.
I'll tell you what doesn't have a limit. Captain America's capacity for friendship. He's always been there for me, even when my dog died and I had to call in sick for work, or when the Soviets had me shoot JFK. He was really cool about that.
So yeah, current new Avenger, Bucky, literally killed a former US president. While he was obviously mind controlled, it's cool to think about the other events Bucky was involved in.